Today, I want to show you step by step logically how an absolutely average guy can go from getting 1 date a year to 4 dates a week. And as I said, I'm going to show you exactly how this works or how I calculated that so you can see and visualize for yourself how you can do exactly the same thing. Now, when I'm talking about an average guy, I'm talking about a completely average guy. He is average in looks. He has an average job. In other words, he's not poor. He's not rich. He's just got a regular job that he goes to. He doesn't drive a super fancy car. He doesn't drive a car that's falling apart. His social skills aren't like rubbish. His social skills aren't great. As an overall dateability value, he's a 5 out of 10. He's completely average in his dateability from a woman's perspective. And guys who are watching, how attractive is a guy who is a 5 on the dateability to women right now, right? Not very. I tried to do some research about how many dates the average man goes on in a given year. And the figures that I found were somewhere between 1 and 5, which is quite a large spread because one of them is 5 times as many dates as the other. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to assume that the average guy is going on 1 date, just 1 date in a year. Now, some of you watching, that number may be lower, and that's totally fine. This video will absolutely still apply to you. For others, it may be more than that, in which case, congratulations, this video certainly applies to you as well. So the journey / process / kind of hack that I'm going to show you is what I get my clients to do when I'm doing one-on-one coaching with them, which I do in Zoom calls and Google Meet calls regularly. This is the journey that I take guys through to ensure that they start to live a lifestyle where they're going on lots of dates. Now, there are 2 important parts to this. One is what we call the funnel, and the other one is what we call the multipliers. Now, you may have seen me talk about the funnel before, in which case feel free to skip ahead. I'll have chapter markers down below. But the funnel is basically how many women you're meeting, how many new women, not women that you're going on a date with, no, how many dates, no, just women you meet on average in your average year. The average guy meets about 20 new women in a year. For you, it may be less or it may be more. But assuming that you're not cold approaching and you're not like getting any results on online dating, it's about 20 in your regular lifestyle. But that really isn't enough women. You need to start to have a lifestyle where you're regularly meeting women. In fact, I want you to have a lifestyle where at any given week, you're meeting about 5 new women every single week. Now, it's not that hard, but what you need to do is you need to start to have a social life where you meet new women. And the way that I get most guys to do this, and this enriches guys' lives as well, is to get them involved in a sport or hobby, an education, a style of education, learning a skill set that is social, that has social groups connected to it. So there is a huge list of these, like examples, things that guys can do. But I'm going to read out a few just from what I've got here. So you could do yoga. You could do improv comedy. You could do Latin dancing like salsa. You could do photography. You could learn a new language. You can do art such as painting, pottery, drawing, life drawing, that kind of thing. Fitness classes, acro yoga, volunteering like dog walking. Amazing for meeting women. Surfing, theater or music theater, trivia night groups, CrossFit, drum circles. You kind of get the idea. There's a lot of these, and for each single one of these, there is usually a way to maximize your results. So if I give you an example, let's say you have an interest in photography. And you are, okay, I'm going to go out and I'm going to learn to be a photographer. I'm going to learn to get good at this. What you do is you start to go out in groups. There are photography groups, meetup.com, Facebook, that kind of thing. There are photography groups that go out and do photos. That's one way to meet women. But there are other things you can do. For example, if you are like me and you have an interest in doing like portrait photography, there are plenty of Facebook groups where you can throw up an ad, not an ad, but throw up a post. You can do it on Instagram, basically saying, hey, I'm wanting to improve my portrait photography. Are there any girls, women who would like some free photos so I can get practice and you can have access to all the photos? That is another way that you meet women. Now, I'm not telling you that you should try to flirt and be that weirdo guy who offers free photos and then uses it as a way to try to get her out on a date. But what you're doing is you're meeting more women. So what you do is you start to do that and, you meet them as you start to do these free sessions, but it's fun for you. You're not just doing it to get a result out of the girls. you're having these, but then you're meeting more women. Those women will invite you to go to things with friends of theirs, some of them, because you'll get along with them, right? It's part of an expanding social network. So there's little hacks that we can use for these different community styles. And if I work with you, I can go into them in detail, but I don't need to. But the thing to keep in mind, when I say you need to be part of a social group, it's got to be something that you think you would enjoy. And the king of social groups for meeting women has always been Latin dancing, for sure. But not everyone wants to do Latin dancing. There's a lot of different things you can do if you're creative, if you're sporty, there are options. And so if you're meeting 5 new women every week doing this, going out to these social events, that's 250 more women you're meeting every week instead of the 20 most guys are meeting. That makes you automatically 12.5 times more likely to find women to go on a date with you than what you experienced, than what the average guy has previously experienced. And here's the thing, by the way, you could easily make it 10 new women a week, salsa, bachata, something like that, Latin dancing, easy, 10, 15 new women a week. But let's assume it's just 5 new women a week. But that's just the funnel. The real juice, the real amazing thing here is in the multipliers, because I can already see right now, a lot of you are watching and saying, well, yeah, Damien, great. I can go out and meet, 250 new women a year. That's going to be 250 more rejections every year. And I get you. I feel you, because if you're average, especially if you're average in most things, most women are going to look straight through you. And this is where the multipliers come in. So the first multiplier is this. Imagine if you all of a sudden are dressed really well. See, most of the men I work with, I know you guys, some of you dress really well, but that's about 15% of you. About 50% of you dress okay, good enough, and about, 30 to 40% of you really, really, really need help in your clothing styles, right? You are hurting yourself. But the reality is that just by being dressed really well, seeing a stylist or doing the work to find a style that works for you, something that I help a lot of my clients with, could drastically change how women see you. As I'm speaking, I'm going to throw up some examples of before and afters that you'll see here on the screen, and you can see what a radical difference it makes to how attractive someone looks. Especially guys. Women are very sensitive to first impressions. And so if you get that right, you can easily increase your dateability by 50%. The next multiplier probably isn't something that should surprise anyone, but it's the ability to have fun. It's banter, right? It's having fun conversations with someone you've just met. Can you meet someone and within a few minutes be bantering, be making fun of them playfully, and have it be a fun conversation? Because if you can do this, I kid you not, that will double your dateability for anyone who meets you. Any woman who meets you is instantly going to find you a lot more attractive. It's not just from my experience as a dating coach. If you just have a look at the data, there's quite a bit of data research that shows that men who can make women laugh are seen as being more attractive. But it's not just that. Imagine if you're in a bar and you meet a girl and you can make her laugh and the conversation is fun. You can clearly see how that's going to put you far ahead above average, right? Okay, here's another multiplier most guys haven't thought about. You have a social life, you're going out, you're meeting women, you're making them laugh, you're swapping Instagrams with them, not necessarily to date yet, but you're making connections, right? You're networking. Imagine if you have a really amazing Instagram profile or social media profile that shows you living an interesting, intriguing lifestyle. In other words, a very purposely curated Instagram that creates intrigue and interest from women. That could easily make you 30% more dateable. Why? Because if a woman thinks, this guy's fun to talk to, and I just met him, I don't know much about him, she will look through Instagram and she is going to determine, will I see him as a potential dating guy or not, based on what she sees. That's what a lot of these women will do. Because again, remember, when you're meeting women in a social environment, doing some of these like salsa or fitness or yoga or fire twirling or whatever it is, you're not necessarily just going, hey, you want to go on a date? No, mostly you're starting with connections, fun, playful banter, maybe a bit of flirting, because you'll see them again, you'll see them again, you'll see them again. You're building these connections over time. So yes, they're absolutely going to go through your Instagram. And here's another major multiplier. Imagine that you've been going to the same kind of social events for a while and you've really worked on your networking skills. In other words, you have purposely been introducing yourself and getting to know everyone, not just the women, the guys, the instructors, and the women, of course, as well. Any new woman who comes in and sees that you get along with everyone, that the instructor is nice to you, it likes you, people know your name, that creates a massive amount of social proof and trust in this environment. So all of a sudden, you're not just some random guy that, oh, should I be cautious of him? It's like, well, he's approved of by other women. He's approved of by other guys. He may even be approved of some of my friends who invited me here, who, but I've never been here before. So it's this massive dose of social proof that easily, again, that gives you a 30% boost. Social proof is big. It's not a surprise, but you can build massive social proof quite easily in these types of environments. But the networking skills helps you in another way too. Because if you're networking a lot, and I used to do this a lot at Salsa, just not even because I was trying to meet women at Salsa specifically, but because I just wanted to build a social life for myself. I was in a new city, and so I was meeting lots of people, and I started to get invited to a lot of birthdays, housewarmings, picnics in the park, these kind of social events that go on. And I'd easily be meeting another 50 women just from going to these events, these social events as well, because I'm making friends, I'm getting to know people, I'm being invited to things, not just by women, but by guys as well. So that easily adds another 50 women that you're going to meet in a year, which is, again, it's another, what is it, a 20% boost in your dateability or your odds of finding a woman to go on a date with. So if you just did those things over 6 months, you would be 76 times more likely to meet women to go on dates with. That means instead of 1 date a year, you're now going on 76 dates a year. I know that sounds like a crazy amount, and I'm going to give you some other examples in a second, but I see this all the time. And that isn't where the multipliers end. Because imagine if I set up a professionally built and photographed profile, online dating profile for you. I know a lot of guys are done with online dating, but if I set one up for you, it's not that hard to get 10 matches in a week. Now, that's not a crazy number, and in a few weeks, I'm going to be doing a video where I'm literally going to show you the process of myself revamping someone's Tinder profile, someone's online dating profile, and the big change in results they get. But if you let me do that, now I know Tinder's a little rough, so let's not assume you're meeting 10 new women a week, because let's say maybe 20% of those women only, of those 10, are actually going to want to connect with you, right? Are actually going to talk with you, not even meet you. We're just talking, I'm just speaking about talking to them, right? Interacting with them. Let's call that a meeting. So all of a sudden now, you've got, what, 102 times more likely to meet someone to go on a date with. Can you see where this is going? That was a big multiplier. But just adding in the opportunity to meet, to come across more women every single week. And there's another multiplier on top of that. And this is a big one. Now, this is not something that a lot of guys are going to invest in, but it's a really easy, big multiplier. And that's this. Really focus on getting good at the skill that your group is about. Right? If it's Latin dancing, you're going to focus on getting really good at Latin dancing. If it's photography, you're going to actually focus on getting really good. You're going to put a lot of energy into it. If it's fire twirling, if it's, like all the examples that I have in my head. But the idea is that if you are one of the people there who's really good at it, right, all of a sudden, your desirability goes up dramatically. So, okay, I get it. If you go on a random Tinder date and you go, hey, I'm amazing at fire twirling, or I'm amazing at, I don't know, drumming or tantra, I'm really great at connecting with myself and sharing that energy, you might get kind of a, okay, cool, that's nice. But if you are in the environment, so if you're at a salsa night, if you're at a drum circle event, if you're at fire twirling event, if you're, I don't know what it is, there's so many things you could be at. If you're there, if you have decided to become the instructor who teaches the yoga sessions, right? That's not a super long course to learn to do that. If that's where you're at, all of a sudden you are really talented at something every woman you're going to meet wants to be better at. Can you see what that does to your desirability? If you go to salsa and all of a sudden you're an amazing salsa dancer, the path to becoming really great at something, in other words, where most people are going to say, wow, you're really good, you're looking at about 12 months if you don't, like if you just go to regular classes, or 6 months if you get an instructor, like if you get direct instruction yourself. So that can be done in 6 months to get to that level. And when you're at that level, your desirability shoots up. this can literally double your dateability. I'm sure that isn't a surprise, right? You're all of a sudden, you're skilled in this, you're very talented in the skill most people want to learn there. You can see the impact that's going to have easily, I hope, right? That suddenly becomes what, 200, where are we, 204? 200 times, right? More likely to find someone to go on a date with. That means if you did all of that in 6 months, right? You would go from 1 date a year to 200 dates a year, which is 4 dates a week. But the thing is, you don't have to go on 4 dates a week. Who has time? I don't have time for 4 dates a week. Cut out online dating. You don't want to do online dating? Psh, cut it out. Don't want to bother trying to master something and become like a god at dancing? Okay, get rid of it. You still go 1 or 2 dates every single week using these multipliers. And what most guys do is they really just focus on one multiplier. When guys learn cold approaching, what do? They learn social skills, right, which is a multiplier, and they put more women in the funnel, i.e. cold approaching. That also gives you a little bit of social proof, confidence gaining, right? It's another form of multiplier, but it gains you something, and that's really all they rely on. And they also usually focus on how they dress. There's your multipliers. They get results that way. But you don't have to do cold approaching to get the really great results. And I know that can seem a little wild, and I often say to guys, look, just go for one night, go to, I don't know, salsa, or if you like the more hip stuff, go to a tantra event, or go to, and whatever it is, to go to art class, drawing class, or observe the guys who seem to be getting the most tail. And you may have to go a few times to work that out, the guys the girls are gravitating towards. And what you're going to notice is they're the guys who have the social proof, seem to know everybody, they're pretty good at what they do already. They are using these multipliers, and that's what's gaining them the access, or gaining them the dateability, the perceived dateability. Because just think about this. Imagine you walk into a venue, and in that venue you are, let's say it's a salsa venue. I say that because I know that the best of anything, but it doesn't matter. You walk into this space and everyone knows you, or most people know you. You're shaking hands, fist bumping with a few people, saying hello. You're dressed really well. You're looking great. You smell amazing. You are really good. You're talented at that skill set. You're friendly with people. You meet new girls. You swap Instagrams with them, get to know them. They're checking out your Instagram. They can see you've got all this social proof. Are you a 5 as far as your overall dateability? Are you now a 5? You're not. Now you're interesting, you're unique, you're funny, you're fun to talk to. It's part of the skills you learned, right? It's one of those multipliers. And you know everyone. And you're good at the skill, right? You're now an 8 in your dateability from her perception. Because all that social proof, it all adds up. That's how you start to be someone who's getting regular dates from these social events. And this is not just women, this is life enriching. So I do this for a living. I mean, I teach cold approaching as well in bars and clubs, but I'm teaching men on calls weekly, fortnightly. I'm with guys slowly progressing, moving them along this journey to have a lifestyle where they're going on dates, like 3, 4, 5 dates every single week. That's not unusual, and it's not hard if you just follow this process. That's what I take guys through. Now, if you want help with that, I can absolutely help you. It's not that difficult to do. I know the journey. I've taken hundreds of guys on this so far. If that's something you're interested in, go ahead. I'll throw a link up here, and I'll throw a link down in the comments below as well. Check it out, and yeah, reach out. We can even have a chat before a formal paid session and just see how we click. See if I'm someone that you feel comfortable working with. Maybe you think this won't work for you for some reason. We can chat it out. We can have a talk about that before you have to invest and make a payment that, might not get any kind of result for you. And guys, look, I know it's hard to imagine a world, a future in which you just have this amazing social life, but you can build that out in just 6 months. And 6 months is quite a big time investment, but you got to remember, it's life enriching. Doing this stuff, having this new social life, focusing on skills that you'd like to learn, that's important. Building that up, that is life enriching. That makes you feel better. Even if you don't meet other women, it was worth the time invested. That's the thing I want to get across. Guys, sometimes I see them writing, why would I put in all this effort just for a woman? And what a waste of time. How about just making your life better? Having a great social life. I know even if you're an introvert, most introverts don't have a big enough social life for their level of introversion, by the way. Most people are horribly under-socialized, even for the introversion/extroversion levels. So yes, having that would make your life infinitely better for most of you watching. So I highly recommend you do that. Whether it's with me, whether it's on your own, doesn't matter. You've got to take those steps, and it's doable without doing a single cold approach. Guys, I'd love to hear your thoughts as always in the comments below. If you want to work with me, don't forget to click the link and check that out. And I look forward to seeing you guys all in my future videos. If you don't want to miss that video where I'm going to be showing you exactly how I change someone's Tinder profile, like a regular guy's Tinder profile, to start getting real results, don't forget to like and subscribe, and you won't miss out on that. Take care.